fact, we have a very special guest joining us on ET now, Mr. TV Mohandas Pai, the chairman of Aaron Capital Partners, and someone who has been a part of this journey at Infosys as well. Mr. Pai, appreciate you taking your time out and speaking with us today on this very momentous day for Infosys. This is Ruchi Bhatia. Let me first begin by asking you on what this milestone really means for Infosys, for the Indian IT space as well.
Well, this milestone is a testimony to the great work that Infosys has done and sends a message to every Indian and every entrepreneur around the world that you can build a company of $100 billion in value over time with almost no capital if you have good corporate governance, you have good employee policies, you are transparent, and you set standards. This is an industry which is built upon human capital and intellectual capital. And here we have a company which sets standards in every facet of work, sets standards in technology, in the global delivery model, in treating employees like partners, in India's largest employee stock option plan, which today would have been worth 1 lakh crore. Because, it is 14% of the total stock issued by the corporation. In transparency, in investor relations, in prevention of insider trading, in setting up an independent board, in having a lead independent director, listing on the NASDAQ, being the first from India, and doing a secondary offering of 350 million, then $1 billion, then $1.5 billion, and setting standards for every single activity. These campuses of 50 million square feet are among the best campus anybody. And in terms of sustainability, it set global standards for global standards. Sustainability is among the best top 5 companies in the world for sustainability. In every facet of work, Infy has set standards. So what it means is that if you're honest, you have integrity, you work smartly, you have good corporate governance, you treat everybody fairly, you can build great value. This is the result of India's liberalization. And a great day for Infosys, great day for the IT software industry, and a great day for India.
Oh, absolutely. And while we're celebrating this milestone, I'm sure the initial days were full of struggle. Sometimes, you guys may have been thinking of even perhaps giving up. Share some of those moments with us.
Well, I joined in January of '94 after the IPO. So, it was 7 engineers who started off with Narayan Murthy. One of them left in between. Like Narayan Murthy has said, they almost sold off the corporation at one point of time for a few crores. But Narayan Murthy stuck on, and it was the liberalization in 1991 which opened up the world for Infosys. Till then, in the control regime set by the failed socialistic policy of the Nehruvian era, Infosys could not grow. You could not get dollars to travel. You could not raise capital without controls. You could not export easily. And there were so many hazards. Liberalization means you had the software technology park scheme. You are given all the favorable regulatory benefits, and you could export, and then it took off. India opened up, and this took off. This is a poster child of India's liberalization, and shows that what a open market economy can provide to entrepreneurs to grow, like is happening to India's startups today. And we have 65 unicorns today, which is a very, very proud moment for India. There were very difficult days. There was no capital. As CFO, Murthy used to tell me, never go to a bank and borrow. Always have enough cash to meet all your expenditure. And I asked him, why didn't you borrow? He said, look, I went to a bank to ask for 2 lakh rupees and I was turned away. I was asked to sit outside. I was humiliated. So you should never go to a bank to borrow money. And remember, we always kept on the balance sheet enough cash to meet 1 year's expenditure right from 1994. And that helped us during the COVID when we had enough cash for 2 years expenditure. And, I think it worked very well, and everybody used to criticize us. But everything that Infosys has done, so they were very tough days. There's not enough money to go around. There's not enough compensation. But one thing you must give credit to Narayan Murthy and other founders, they stuck to their ethical standard. They stuck to the straight, narrow path, and they showed everybody what could be done. And they shared the benefits of Infosys growth with everybody. The employee stock option plan was so large and given to everybody. Drivers became crorepati's. In '99, when he went to the IPO with NASDAQ, they were $200 millionaires, right? So Infosys today has about 75,000 employees, maybe 350,000 people outside. And these people have gone across the industry, across the world, and they get fabulous training. the training center in Mysore, the world's largest training center for software. At one point of time, they used to train 35,000 high-quality global software engineers every year. It was the largest collection of human talent for software
Mr.
apart
Pai.
from the United States and China in one single location. So, amazing story. Great day today.
Absolutely. Absolutely an amazing story. In fact, the tagline of Infosys also is powered by intellect, driven by values. In that sense, do you think Infosys has been able to create a niche for itself for its emphasis on values as well?
Absolutely, because values are sustainable. Because like Narayan Murthy is said, the softest pillow is a clear conscience. We never did anything wrong. We always led by example. And I remember one day, Narayan Murthy coming and telling me as CFO, we're not going home today, we're going to do the annual report. And then the next day he went home at 6 o'clock in the morning and we stayed back, we completed the entire annual report. And we went back, very tired. He led by example. That man was an extraordinary man, unbelievable man. Let me put it on record in these joyous days. After independence, in my opinion, there have been three great industrial leaders. J.R.D. Tata, you represent the genteel world of business. Then came Dhirubhai Ambani, who created a great empire, Reliance. But Dhirubhai Ambani made sure that India knew scale. He's the man who told India that you can build scale. And Narayan Murthy, who created a global corporation based on the best global standards the world has ever seen in the area of intellectual property and told the world Indians
Absolutely.
are smart and they can dominate the world. Today, this year, India will export more than $170 billion, more than the oil Saudi Arabia will export, with a small part of the brains that India has. Look at all this that have been done. If you go anywhere, there's respect for you. I remember in the early days when I went abroad, when they saw my passport, they used to look at me up and down and treat me shabbily. And after Infosys listing on the NASDAQ, they used to look at the passport and say, who are you? I said, I'm from Infosys. Oh, Infosys, welcome, welcome. They should let me by. They gave respect to the Indian. The Indian passport got respect because of the Indian software industry. Those were exhilarating days. Those are unbelievable days.
Mr. Those were, of course, great days, but I also want to, understand from you. For example, back in the year 2018, Infosys did go through a turbulent time with a lot of churn on the, with respect to the top level management as well, forcing Nandan Nilekani to make a comeback. Do you think this $100 billion market cap milestone also signals a turnaround that the company has achieved under the aegis of Nandan as well?
Well, we are all romantics on the board, romantics who believed in a great future. And we all thought being professionals, you must get off the board when you reach a particular age, hand over to the next set of people, get a new board and go. We should not hang on like others do because this is not a family property to pass on. We are professionals. But what happened was everybody got off too soon and we made a mistake. And we set up a board headed by somebody who was not the kind of person Infosys should have. I did not have the cable to run a great company like Infosys. Then they got Vishal Sikka. Vishal was a great techie. Let me put on record, he's an unbelievable techie, but he's not the person to lead a software service company. He didn't understand the business and he messed up. And at that point of time, the board was not a good board. The chairman of the board was not able to control the company and adhere to the standard that Infosys had. And then Narayan Murthy had to step in and tell them that they have to ensure the standards. And Narayan Murthy stepping in, coming back, and then everything is a saga. It just showed that when you deal with a large corporation which is run centrally with a few set of people who are very good people, you just can't walk off. You need to have a program for people to come by, and you got to nurture them, and you got to remain on the board. I think we all made a big mistake by getting off the board too soon. Some of us should remain on the board, got a new set of managers, given the confidence. So Nandan came back. He provided stability. We got a new CEO. And the CEO has done well, and Nandan has made sure that the company goes on the path set by the founders and see the magic now. And because of that, but it's a misadventure. It is a part of the romantic notion all of us had that, we should all walk off, we should stick by the rules, we should retire on a particular date. We did not extend the retirement age for anybody. We did not do that. Whatever we promised, we did, but it was premature. We shouldn't have walked on the board. We should have stayed on the board as non-executive directors for a few years till things settled down. Because this was a company which was centrally controlled and you wanted to have a new set of managers and it was run for 20, 25 years by a particular set of people. and they created a vacuum. And into the vacuum, we did not have a good chairman of the board at that point of time because KB Kamath went away to China to head the new development bank, and we had somebody else from Chennai who was not the kind of person Infosys deserved. So I think there's a lesson for everybody that when you deal with a large corporation on succession, you got to be very careful. You need to have time to hand over, and you have to be around to make sure there's a smooth transition. You just cannot step off the plate and go away. There are great lessons in management for everybody.
Mr. Pai, very quickly, absolutely, Mr. Pai, I'm running out of time, and very quickly, this is going to be my last question. If you can help us understand what the future companies are really going to look like. This is a big milestone for Infosys, and of course a lot of lessons that the young startup community or the entrepreneurial community can take from Infosys. What the future companies will look like in your view as we stand here and discuss this massive milestone that has been achieved by Infy?
Well, I think Infy and the software service company like TCS and Wipro have set standards. They've shown the world that with great intellectual capacity, with human capital being done very well, you can set great companies. And my advice to all startups is create value, invest in technology, invest in people, have a large dream, go along the narrow straight path, focus on good corporate governance, put the company before self, treat your employees very fairly, set standards in everything you do. Look at the globe as a market, not India as a market. Look at the entire globe because the world's GDP is $82 trillion. And if you're able to go along the path and work very hard day after day after day, month after month after month, sacrifice your personal comfort for the greater good of the corporation and the country, you will do very well. The world is a big place. You must dream big. You must do all the right things to achieve. And I'm very proud of India. Let me give you some data before signing off. The software service companies have a market value of $400 billion. And they're going to go in double digits for at least the next 2 years. And now we have 65 unicorns in the startups, 55,000 companies and 65 unicorns creating about $350 billion of value. And I think the listing of these unicorns and the software service companies will create $1 trillion of value by 2025. And then even the unlisted startups will have $1 trillion of value. So in the next 5 years, we're going to have the most innovative, most exciting growth in this country. And we're going to have an enormous amount of young people showing the future of this country. People are going to make us proud. People are going to stand up before the world and get respect. And the world will stand up and applaud. But, Infosys has set the stage. TCS has set the stage. Wipro has set the stage. Narayan Murthy, Nandan Nelikani, Chris, Shibulal, and Dinesh and others. And Chandra from Kohli from F. Kohli from, TCS. And then you got Azim Premji and Rishad Premji from Wipro. These are stalwarts which any country will be proud of. I'm so proud of the software service industry. And I've been lucky. I worked in a company which saw the rise of a great country, India, from 91 till today. Rise of a great industry, the Indian software industry. And the rise of a great company is a dream come true. It's a life well spent.
Absolutely. In fact, Mr. Pai, I appreciate you taking your time out and speaking with us on this day. It's a big milestone for Infosys, for the Indian IT sector, and I'm sure there are great lessons that the entire startup community, all the entrepreneurs will be taking from this chat that we've had with you as well. Mr. Pai, thank you very much for taking your time out and speaking with us today.